Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Jeffrey Epstein was found unresponsive in his cell at about 6:30 Saturday morning. His suicide by hanging touched off 2 federal investigations. The FBI is doing one, and the Department of Justice Inspector General is doing another at the request of Attorney General William Barr, who was said to be livid over Epstein's suicide. There were calls on Capitol Hill for congressional hearings over this and an outcry among victims who are worried now they will never get their day in court.
He's dead. Who killed him? Did he kill himself? He's a scumbag. He's a scumbag. And by the sounds of it, he hung out with other people that had the appetite for the young ladies. And, you know, is it possible? Because these are the conspiracy theories, right? Like Trump's tweeting conspiracy theories. There's all kinds of stuff going on. There's all kinds of theories that he did. This person did this. There's a Clinton and the body count over here for Trump. And look about this and all these fake memes. And, oh, my God, you just stand back and you're like, he's a scumbag, right? He's a guy that's used to having everything in his life his way. Even when he was in trouble, he got it his way. He couldn't stop doing what he was doing because he was a vile and sick individual. And the thought of him living the next 30 years potentially behind bars or 20 years was just, no, not going to happen. Is it absolutely conceivable that he did this to himself based on the fact that this prison seems to be pretty poorly run?
Following Epstein's suicide, President Trump retweeted 2 conspiracy theories that were completely baseless, suggesting Bill Clinton was somehow behind the suicide because he had a past association with Epstein. Again, no proof, completely baseless. We should also mention that President Trump himself had a past relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Both presidents say they knew nothing about these terrible crimes.
Yeah. So, and I don't think they did. Do I think that there was rumors? Probably. Yeah, I think there was. I think there was some issues potentially. But do I think at any given time that, Clinton flew around on his, it's like slow your roll. This is where you can't have a normal conversation with people because everything is deep state conspiracy. Let me draw a path to where it went. This person shook somebody's hand who knew somebody. No, this was a poorly run situation. And now the investigation needs to go, look, a lot of things that could have happened. Right? There was absolutely a ton of things that could have happened. He could have bought himself his suicide. Right? If they were really that concerned about it, and they'd taken him off suicide watch, and they were that concerned based on everything that took place, they would have watched him 24/7. You go back, and if you, or any study of history, World War II, when the Nuremberg trials were going on, they watched them 24/7. Still didn't matter, by the way. Hermann Goering still managed to commit suicide and cheat the hangman's noose. But they had lights inside of their cells and watched them 24/7 with somebody standing there. If they were really that worried, did money buy himself the opportunity to say, hasta la vista? It's possible. Should there be an investigation? Absolutely. I understand why William Barr and many other people are pissed.
I was appalled, and indeed the whole department was, and frankly, angry, to learn of the MCC's failure to adequately secure this prisoner. We are now learning of serious irregularities at this facility that are deeply concerning and demand a thorough investigation.
Yeah, and there'll be that. And the worst thing that comes out of this, if you're the guards and everything else, and the people who run this, is you guys are now going to be exposed for all kinds of issues that potentially are going on there. Right? People working too long, stuff not working, cameras not where they're supposed to be. Apparently it was 7 hours before somebody checked on him. I mean, there's all kinds of, this may just be poorly run and somebody took the opportunity. I'm not saying something's not possible, but in the end, he's a scumbag. Now the question is, what goes on from here? Because a lot of people are upset. People that were his alleged victims who want their opportunity to have their day in court. their opportunity to have their voice heard, and they feel like this guy cheated everything. And not only that, but the people that potentially did things with him also potentially could walk scot-free. So, yeah, I mean, I get it. Now, what? Well, there's still opportunities here. They're going to go through this thing top to bottom. This thing isn't done by any stretch of the imagination, nor should it be. So we'll see. There will be other things, because people are going, well, okay, he's got all this money. Now, like, what happens to his cash? Who gets it? Who gets to seize it? Can people go after it? I mean, yeah, there is that. And this thing isn't over by any stretch.
People are asking, what happens to all his money, et cetera. Just because he dies doesn't mean that various people can't sue his estate.
Which is what's going to happen. And who knows how big the estate is. That's the other thing. His estate is, because sometimes I hear he's a multi-billionaire. Other times I hear he's a multi-millionaire. Either way, he had some cash. Either way, he was doing okay. So I don't know who gets it, how they dole it out. People are like, well, the state should come in and take it. I think that, everybody should take a deep breath. But in the end, he's a scumbag. And I said something earlier. In a prison, right? In a prison, the people that are most reviled, hated individuals, rapists and molesters. That's it. You are vile and disgusting. And is it possible somebody turned a blind eye? Yeah. I mean, my God, they moved Whitey Bulger, and less than 24 hours later, he was dead by somebody who had no history with him whatsoever, wanted to make a name for himself, knew he was coming, and people were able to turn a blind eye. Is that possible? Absolutely. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Do love hearing from every single one of you. Of course, over the weekend, everybody was in Iowa doing what Iowans do, which is listening to these people who are running to be president of the United States of America talk about United States of America and what they're going to do.
Democracy is starting to show a little muscle out there, and I think Mitch McConnell's getting just a little bit worried. My view? He ought to be a lot worried.
No, I don't really think he's that worried, to be honest with you. I don't think he's worried. I don't think he's worried. I just don't. I talked to several people this weekend when it comes to the gun debate that everybody's having. And she's rolling out something new, and everybody's got their plans and universal background checks. I mean, we'll discuss it throughout the day. But Mitch McConnell's not worried. He's not. He's not. Because he's safe. He's not going anywhere. I think it would be really amazing if it would be a huge upset if Mitch McConnell was to go anywhere. But watching the gun debate take place over and over and over again this weekend on several different places, reading about it, discussing things with some people, the one thing that always comes back to me comparatively to the rest of the world when we have these kind of issues, and there are issues here that we need to deal with, is one of the big things is the non-trust of us and our government, that they will not overstep. That's a huge thing. We just don't believe that they're going to keep their word. We don't. We do not believe for an instant that at any given time they're going to keep the word. Hey, we're only going to do this, and then that's it. And then something happens. Well, maybe we need to do this. It is that non-trust that is something that, and it doesn't matter what it is. You can put guns, you can put immigration, it matters not. We have this skepticism of government. Some people look to government to be the answer, but a good portion of Americans look to government with this kind of like, I'm not sure I can trust you attitude. And that's where it comes in, because we've seen over and over again where they say one thing, it doesn't go the way they like, then they grab for something else, and then they say something different, and then people stand back and go, that's not even close to what you said was going to happen. How are we to trust you? And I think trust is a big thing. It really is when it comes to something like this. This debate's not going anywhere. And between now, and I'm going to tell you guys this right now, between now In 2020, there are going to be more issues. There could potentially be a terror attack. There could potentially be a white nationalist terror attack. There could potentially be somebody who's just off their rocker and has done something horrific attack. It will happen, and this will come up again. But between now and then, there's going to be a lot of different things that are going to come up. But inherently, when I listen to people talk, when I listen to people break this thing down on all sides, there's always some group, and potentially the right has a much bigger skepticism, but there are people on the left who also feel like they're not quite sure they can trust the government. Doesn't matter what it is. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. I hope you had a good weekend. I did. So yesterday, took the kids. We went out to breakfast after church. So he says to me, right, I'm 48. Now, granted, I've got friends who are grandparents. I do. And I got a little one, and Jack and everybody's visiting, the whole 9 yards. And somebody says to me, "You're so patient for a grandfather." And I thought to myself, really? Like, I'm pops. I'm not granddad. I'm dad. It just felt weird. But then I'm like, and I get it though, because right, like I have friends who are near my age now, and they're grandparents, and it's so weird because I'm not even close to being a grandparent. I'm parent still. It's nuts, but man, that just wakes you up quick. You're like, I gotta work out more and maybe dye my beard. I'm just kidding. I could care less. It was just funny, right? It feels weird. Like when you say, hey, oh, congratulations, when are you due? Like, that's just some things I just don't think you say. When are you due? Oh, you're not pregnant? Oh, wow. Oh, you're not grandpa? 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at me. Love hearing from each and every one of you. What do you think? Epstein, is the conspiracy theory real? Who do you think did it? Was it the Russians, the Saudis, Trump, Clinton? Or maybe it was just him? 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show, Twitter. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show, where the sensible center hangs out. Hey, you. That doesn't mean you can put your feet up on the table.
You're despicable.
This is Chad Benson.
Police firing tear gas canisters inside a train station. The tactics were repeated in several other Hong Kong districts where protesters occupied roads in another weekend of anti-government demonstrations. It's been rare for officers to fire tear gas indoors up to this point. Hong Kong has seen 9 weeks of demonstrations with seemingly no end in sight. The movement demands the resignation of the Chinese territory's leader and democratic elections.
Yeah, I'm telling you guys, it's getting ugly over there. They canceled all flights today, and now you're starting to hear people come out in Hong Kong and say things like this.
The peaceful protest from the past 10 years is not working anymore.
Yeah, that's ugly. That is going to be ugly. And this could be huge. This could be. I mean, it is close to becoming a real serious issue. And unlike Tiananmen Square in Hong Kong, social media is huge. They've had some, and you know, they're kind of autonomous, even though the rule has been slowly but surely of China has been coming down harder and harder. They're still able to do things that mainland Chinese can't do. And the chance of this thing getting ugly fast is real. And how does the world, I continue to ask, how does the world look upon that if China does something nasty? If China kills hundreds and thousands of protesters, clamps down, how does the world look on? Remember, Hong Kong is a massive financial hub. What does that do for the markets? What does that do globally? Bank of America came out today and said there's a 30% chance that next year we'll see a recession. I believe that to be true. How big of a recession, I couldn't tell you. But I think we're going to see a slowdown. I think the fourth quarter is going to be okay, but you'll start to see it slow down. And I think that, and I've always said this, Trump's biggest issue is going to be what takes place in his saving grace is the economy. All of the other stuff, the craziness, the insanity, the just the over coverage and crazy coverage and the stuff that he does, that in the end pales in comparison to what potentially a downturn in the economy will do. If the economy's growing and things are strong, it's tough to get rid of somebody like that. It is. We're going to touch on that, too. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Social media. I want to talk about it last week. Didn't have a chance. 46% of U.S. social media users said they're worn out by political posts and discussions. And it's really interesting when you look at men. Men and women, 46%. 18 to 49, 49%. 50 plus, 46%. White, 52%. Non-white, 36%. Republican-leaning, 51%. Dem, 43%. Translation, people are over it. We're sick of arguing. We're sick of fighting. We're sick of the baloney. People want to get to back some normalcy, right? Facebook and all these things came out. It was a great way to connect with people, and I can keep in touch with my family. Now it's a way for my family and I to fight all the time is the way people look at it. Sad. Very sad. 323-538-2423. Raycon, baby. I love my Raycons. My son's here, and he's just, all he wants to do is steal my headphones. That's it. He loves them. They're incredible. You're going to love them. Before you go out and drop a ton of money on something with stems and wires, don't do it, right? They are the best. Half the price for premium earbuds and a sound that is so amazing. The company was co-founded by Ray J and celebrities like Snoop Dogg. The Raycon E50 wireless earbuds have totally changed the game, and you're going to love them. They're comfortable, easy to take anywhere. They last forever. They're stylish, discreet. And here's the thing. No dangling wires. No stems. Amazing sound. Look amazing. Get yours now. Half the price. Plus, you're going to save 15%. But you got to use my code. Go to buyraycon.com/Chad. Buyraycon.com/Chad. 15% off. Buyraycon.com/Chad. The best wireless earbuds around. Buyraycon.com/Chad. At Chad Benson Show. Twitter, ChadBenson. Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The idea that President Trump is somehow a racist because he highlights the problem that that we have a true problem at the southern border. Illegal immigration is a concern for people across the country, both Democrats and Republicans. And the idea that somehow all of that equates to Donald Trump being the inspiration for a mass murder. Oh, my goodness, we've lost our mind.
Have we lost our mind? Well, of course we have. Look. In this day and age of craziness, especially when it comes to the interwebs, the internet, the loudest, craziest, squeakiest gets the likes, gets the clicks, gets the follow through, where people are going to look and follow. They want to know what's going on. That's crazy. Makes me laugh. You can't just put something. I mean, my God, we live in a world where everybody's fake. That's not who you really are. How many of you out there listening have friends that you know? Not Facebook friends, but you actually know them. And you go online and you see their lives, and you're like, you're so full of crap. It's totally not what you're about. Because we're so busy trying to impress other people. Right? Because we're looking for what? People to pay attention. Same thing goes with the lunacy. It's just easy to call Trump a racist. I don't know what's in his heart. Do you really know what's in it? Oh, I know what's in his heart. You do? Do you know what's in my heart? Do you know what's in everybody's heart? Because you're some sort of soothsayer. No. Immigration. Here's the thing that Trump did, for better or worse, depending on what side of your aisle you're on, but for the average person, is Trump spotlighted and highlighted and brought to the forefront our failed immigration system. You may not agree with the way he's doing things, and I'm okay with that. Not telling you to agree with me. But for years, other people have been going, this is a joke. This is a joke. What's going on is a joke. And nobody paid attention. And now people are paying attention. And, of course, Trump is a xenophobe and a homophobe and he's a racist and he's all those things. Take away that, right? Take away Trump. We still have a problem, right? If Trump left today, he's like, I'm out of here. I don't want to do this crap anymore. We still have a problem. It doesn't go away, right? Like if you're sick, right, and you have a disease and your doctor retires, your disease didn't go away. We still have a problem. Now Trump wants to change up some of the rules when it comes to immigration, right? Oh, he can't do that. What do you mean he wants to change the rules? Yeah, he wants to change some of the rules when it comes to immigration legally into here.
New changes to legal immigration announced by the Trump administration.
Our rule generally prevents aliens who are likely to become a public charge from coming to the United States or remaining here and getting a green card.
U.S. Citizen and Immigration Services Ken Cuccinelli told reporters no one factor alone will decide an applicant's case. But immigrant rights groups have already announced their intent to sue and say the rule is about striking fear into their community. Immigrant advocacy group America's Voice said this is a, quote, racial wealth test on immigrant families that sends the message that if you're not white and rich, you're not welcome.
No. It's not the white and rich thing. It should be able, you come to our country. Right? You come here. Like when I went to Europe and I went over there and I immigrated over there and I was there off and on for a decade. I had to prove that I wasn't going to be a burden to their system, that I just showed up and lived off them. We should have that same kind of thing, right? Like, shouldn't we? Shouldn't there be like, hey, if you're coming here, you should be able to stand on your own 2 feet. You should be able to do the things that you need to do. Because you're coming here. We shouldn't have to take care of you. We shouldn't. And that's the frustration a lot of people have. It's like, wait a minute. Now you're coming here and we're going to have to take care of you in some way, shape, or form? I didn't sign up for that. I didn't. And that's the frustration people have. But these things are being pointed out now. Well, so it should only be the rich people that come here? I didn't say that. What I did say, though, is if you're going to come here legally, you should be able to come here in a way where you're coming here to take advantage of the opportunities that America affords you without having America take care of you.
The benefit to taxpayers is a long-term benefit of seeking to ensure that our immigration system is bringing people to join us as American citizens, as legal permanent residents first, who can stand on their own 2 feet.
I got zero. Who has a problem with this? And I'm not saying if 2 years into this something happens and you're a resident here that you shouldn't get help. But if you come here and the first thing you do is start to get help, then that right there is the frustration I think a lot of people have. I don't care what side you're aisle on. Go anywhere else in the world. This is the thing that they have a huge issue with right now in the Scandinavian countries. Is people are coming there. They don't want to be part of Sweden, Norway, or Denmark. What they want to be is taken care of from the cradle to the grave. They want the great social structure they have of the safety net, but they do not want to participate in anything. And that's why they're saying, well, if you're going to come here, you're going to have to pay to come here. The left, which is taken back over in Denmark, one of the reasons they moved ahead is because of their crackdown on immigration. I got zero problems with if you're going to come here and you're going to bring something to our country, you want to be part of the country and you're doing it legally and you're coming here with this, hey, I'm here and I want to be a part of this moving forward. I don't want you to take care of me. I want to stand on my own 2 feet. Zero problems with that. Who should have a problem with that? And I'm not saying if somewhere down the road something happens that you shouldn't be afforded the same opportunities for a hand up, not a handout. But if you're coming here and your goal is I'm going to get here, I don't really have a plan, and I'll just take all the advantages I possibly can from the safety nets that are out there, I'm sorry, I'm not a fan of that. I don't know who would be a fan of that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. So the mooch and Trump not back in love. No. Exact opposite. They're falling completely out of love.
He comes back from the 2 shooting areas. That was like a total catastrophe because the only thing he was doing in those areas was talking about himself and praising himself and crowd sizes. And so one day after the next, it gets worse and worse and worse. And in the meantime, I got fired 2 years ago and have tried to stay very loyal to him and very loyal to the agenda because I think the policies are very, very good for the American people. But the rhetoric is so charged and so divisive that we have to all just take a step back now and say, what are we doing actually?
Not a lot. Trump, of course, fired back at him, doing what Trump does, hammers him. And it is, you know what? And the big hammer came because of this.
At some point, I think the people in my party will have to look at all this stuff and stop being anesthetized to it and say, hey, what are we doing? The policies are great, many of them. The trade war thing is likely going to end up in an unexpected outcome. We can talk about that if you want. But lastly, how are we all tolerating this? To me, a couple more weeks like this, I really do believe there will be a groundswell in the party where people say, hey, the policies are great, but you're setting us up the way Jimmy Carter set up the Democratic Party where they went into the wilderness for 40 years.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to go into the wilderness for 40 years, but he is definitely thinking that it's maybe it's time for them to go on, to step away from him. Is that real? No, I don't think so. But I will tell you this, the Republicans have a problem right now. They do. They're seeing a shift in this country, right? If you go and look, and I'm not talking about progressive Democrats, I'm talking about a shift in the sense that they're fighting amongst themselves of Christian conservatives, actual conservatives, Republicans, libertarians that had conservative leanings who aren't thrilled by Trump. They're not. And while they like some, if not a majority, of what Trump is pushing as far as policy, they're at the point where they can no longer stomach some of this stuff. And with the demographics changing, you go look at Texas right now. Texas, potentially, and it's wacky to say, I'm here in Arizona, potentially, 2 dead red states. One is now purple, and the other one, not as red as it used to be. Texas is going to flip at some point in time. And a moderate Democrat may have a chance to beat Trump. You've got, 6 or 8 Republicans that are stepping away, that are Republicans in Texas. A few of them are they've seen their districts change tremendously as far as the demographics go, and they realize, hey, I don't really have a chance here. Probably not going to win. Again, you're not changing ideas. People's ideas aren't changing as far as the average person, right? But people are moving out. New people are moving in. There are going to be some issues here. There is. And that's why the Republicans need to figure out what the hell they're going to be. It's the same thing the Democrats are. They have a civil war going on over there. They do. What are we going to be? Are we going to be uber progressive? Or are we going to be this middle of the road, kind of just doing our thing? Democrats, pro-choice, right? Second Amendment, but we would like to have some universal background checks and some rules, right? Pro-union, things of that nature. Are we going to go Green New Deal and way out there? Trump, of course, hammered, as he would do, the mooch. God, they go after each other. And he said, quite frankly, he came after, look, I think the mooch is right in some ways, right? I think the mooch is absolutely right in some ways that Trump is, there's no doubt in my mind, if Trump loses, he's going to leave the White House. There's not going to be a fight. There's going to be none of this, the world is going to, go crazy and he's going to overthrow the government. No, that's not going to happen. But what I do think is going to happen is he's just going to let everybody he knows have it. And he's not going to go away quietly. He's going to go away a bitter, bitter individual. And anybody who turns on him feels the wrath. Anybody. And you see that more and more. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Somebody just texted me and said, because we were talking about Epstein earlier, and of course him dying over the weekend in a horrible necktie accident, which I don't care. Like, having gone through the things I went through as a child with molestation and everything, he's a vile individual. Good riddance to bad rubbish. He's dead. People want him. I know they wanted him to face justice in court. That was him being locked up forever. What was that going to do, honestly? Well, it was going to make him think. He didn't care. It's a person that didn't care, right? He's dead. But the conspiracy theories are out there. I've got several people that have texted me and tweeted at me. It was totally the Clintons. One person's all, it's absolutely Trump. Maybe it was the British royals. Like, which one would shock you the most? Clintons wouldn't shock me. Trump wouldn't shock me. Right? I mean, I would just say, look at the pooter, right? Look at the pooter. Just look at Putin and what he has done. So those probably wouldn't shock me. The British royals would be interesting. That would be. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Car Shield, I drive a ton. Continue to do so. And I don't worry. I used to worry about my car. Right, I take good care of my car, oil changes, those kind of things. The best that I can do. But I got Car Shield because I don't have a warranty with my car. And the reality is the what ifs when it comes to cover repairs. Your check engine light comes on. Man, that could be thousands of dollars in repairs. That's why I have Car Shield. It is incredible. They take care of me. People I know that the family and friends who've got it say, hey, it's so simple. And what they do is incredible. Makes the entire process of fixing your car for a cover repair so easy. Favorite mechanic or dealership do the work, which to me is huge, massive. Check, check, check. 24/7 roadside assistance. Check, check, check. And guess what? A rental car for free while your car's being worked on. That right there will save you hundreds of dollars, especially if it takes a while to get your car done. What are you waiting for? Your car has 5,000 to 150,000 miles on it. Doesn't mean you have to pay high repair bills. Car Shield and their administrators are paid out to about $2 billion. That's a B in claims, and they're ready to help you. How do you do it? Simple and easy. Get covered by the ultimate extended vehicle protection. Do what I did. Call 800-CAR-6000. Mention code Benson or visit carshield.com. Use code Benson. That saves you 10% right there. That is carshield.com, code Benson, or call 800-CAR-6000. Mention code Benson. Deductible may apply. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show.
You don't even take care of me, not only financially, but like emotionally, and like a husband takes care of a wife.
This happens all the time. She's crazy.
I love this video. Just want to give you guys a tease of the insanity that goes on out there in the world of social media. A guy getting beat up by his girlfriend. She kicks his ass. She takes away his cane. It is insane what she does. It is. And his buddy, his roommate, who's got to put up with it too, who's getting hammered online for posting this. But it shows you the insanity of, like, what goes on out there. And then people, like, we feel this need now, especially a younger generation, to film every single thing we do. Last week, you got a YouTuber who abused her dog and then posted the video on accident. It was insane. Like, but we have this bizarre thing to post everything online. I don't get it. It's nuts.
What's up, everyone? It's your girl Brooke here today. For this video, I wanted to prank my dog. She's over there. I put plastic wrap on the door. I'm gonna have him run out. We're just gonna see what he does. I don't know. Well, as you can tell. Stop!
This bizarre world where you go and you post everything online. I don't get it. I don't. I mean, it's in my generation, I guess, is weird that way. The Gen Xers. Could you imagine if we had a Facebook that was honest? Like Honest Book, we'll call it, where you just put out the things there and you're like, this is the honestly how I feel. I feel like this, honestly. Just honestly. Day contest. And you get those people, right, who are always negative. Day's horrible. Life sucks. And they're waiting for somebody to go, oh, what's wrong? What's wrong? But it's just this want to always put stuff out there. And I don't get it. Don't get it. Maybe I'm weird. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. I thought of you and your conspiracy theories. The Russians did it. Trump did it. The body count. Trump body count. Clinton body count. Who's killing who? What if it was a joint venture? What if it was bipartisan assassination of a scumbag? Right? We can agree on that, can't we? Maybe they did. Maybe the Clintons and the Trumps got together and they agreed on something. This guy's a scumbag and he knows too much. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
He was taken off suicide watch on July 29th, in part at the request of his criminal defense attorneys who were urging the Bureau of Prisons to remove him from suicide watch. It is restrictive. It's a special cell. You wear special clothing. You're under constant monitoring. It turns out, though, that may well have saved his life.
But it didn't, and he's dead, and who done it? It's the who done it. Who cares? Well, Chad, I care because we need to figure out all of the stuff that's going on and who's... Look, there's a lot of issues. This guy's a bad dude. So who cares? We're done. We're moving on. All right? He's got some other scumbags out there that may have helped him. And it's time to figure out the deep nastiness in all of this and go from there. All right? But, Chad, what if it was because I've had the Clintons all day. Oh, God. And there was Trump. It's the Russians, right? Maybe. I don't know. Chinese? Probably not. Saudis? Possibly. Right? Occam's razor. I continue to tell people that. Sometimes you look at all the outcomes and the one that makes the most sense, the one that doesn't have the conspiracy, the straight line to, hey, this is it, is probably it.
There is the possibility that someone else or a number of people may well have been involved. And there's suspicion that has fallen on a British socialite, Ghislaine Maxwell, who was said, according to some of the alleged victims, to be Epstein's madam. But there are others as well who have been alleged to have been involved in procuring women and girls to satisfy Jeffrey Epstein's lurid taste.
Yeah, and apparently he had a lot of lurid taste. He was his appetite was very Caligula, if you will. It was insatiable nonstop. He's dead now. Good riddance to bad rubbish. You could lay out 50 quadrillion things, right? It was another inmate. But we got video, right? It's got to be video.
When he was found in his cell at 6:30 Saturday morning, he had not been on suicide watch. There appears to have been no camera trained on his cell, so no video catching him in the act.
No. He's dead. He's gone. Good riddance to bad rubbish. I don't know if he was choked out by somebody else. You know, I mean, I think in the end, this is what we're going to find. Overworked, overtaxed staff, archaic conditions, undermanned or underpersoned, depending on how you want to roll with that. And people that are just getting a paycheck at times, just getting through their day. And they weren't paying attention. He had the opportunity to strangle himself with his bed sheet. You saw what took place several months ago with Aaron Hernandez, the football player. I mean, it is what it is. People are going to read all kinds of stuff into it because we're in this conspiracy theory thing that we live in. But the reality is chances are what ended up taking place was just a guy who had come to the end of the road and realized there was no more get-out-of-jail-free cards. And so he decided he was going to off himself. Good riddance to bad rubbish. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. So the whole Dayton thing continues to just go all over the place. I mean, his friend and his sister were apparently identified as a boy. And was he mad at that? I mean, he had all this crazy stuff that's going on. And now his friend could be in some serious trouble.
24-year-old Ethan Colley facing federal charges of lying on firearms forms, saying he was not a user of controlled substances. Federal prosecutors in the Southern District of Ohio say Colley admitted to using drugs with Dayton shooter Connor Betts frequently and also ordered body armor and firearms accessories so that the gunman's parents wouldn't know. But U.S. Attorney Ben Glassman says
Mr. Colley does not stand accused of intentionally participating in the planning of that shooting.
The charges carry a maximum sentence of 15 years in prison.
Yeah, so he didn't participate. Maybe he didn't know what was going on, or maybe not. But he went out and purchased himself some stuff to hand over to his pal. And his pal went to town. Awful situation, 110%. We can agree with that. We shouldn't have to preface everything, but in this day and age, we do, right? So what happens with this guy? Overcharged, try to figure stuff out. Do you or don't you? They talk about the fact, he used weed every day for 10 years straight. So weed made him do it? How about he's just an awful human being? Can we go with that one? Is that something that we're able to go with? He's just an awful person who was angry and pissed off at the world, and this is what he chose to run with. Like this situation, right? Some people are angry for different reasons, but they're still angry and pissed off at the world. This person may be angry and pissed off because they think there's too many immigrants over here. And this person over here is angry and pissed off because the world's not going the way he wants it to. In the end, they share one common denominator. They're angry. Not every shooting is because somebody's mentally disturbed. There are people out there that are mentally disturbed. But not every shooting is that way. These are just pissed off people. This is what you get for it. Lunacy, craziness. We're always trying to say it's this or it's that. It's this. Sometimes to get down and to drill down into these things, you got to go, all right, well, let's take a peek behind the curtain, if you will, and find out that there's a lot going on here. And a lot of it's pissed off angriness at the world. That was their common denominator. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Once again, over the weekend, Bill Maher had the mooch on, and they were talking about something, and obviously they want to get rid of President Trump. The mooch feels that way at this point in time. But Bill Maher said it once again.
But if the farmers want to keep touching
well,
the
you
hot
should
stove,
wish for a recession, because that will definitely get him unelected.
Okay, but Bill, you don't really want a recession.
I really do.
You're gonna knock
we have survived many recessions. We can't survive another Donald Trump term.
You're going to knock lower middle income people out of work. You really don't.
I do.
Beat them at the ballot box in the intellectual marketplace of ideas.
So
you don't want to knock those people out of work. But to Tom's point, the tariff.
I don't want to.
Tariff is actually paid by.
What he's saying is
short-term pain. Remember, everybody.
Yes,
long-term
right.
You
have
the Constitution.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so short-term pain, right? I'm sitting here in my ivory tower. I have millions of dollars. I'm secure. If HBO fired me tomorrow, I'm sitting pretty. I got things going on. If you lose your job and the struggle that you go through, it's better for America in the long run, and you'll be fine. You'll have to rebuild all over again. That's the insanity of it. I understand what he's trying to say, and we've talked about it before on numerous occasions. As the economy goes, in many cases, so goes the president, right? You can be the greatest, sweetest, kindest, nicest guy in the world. Jimmy Carter, arguably, is the nicest character out there. In the end, he was awful. The economy's sluggish and horrible. He lost his job as president. That's the reality of it. Just like sports, we look over and we see somebody standing there and you're the coach of the team. And if the team's in chaos and it's in disarray, but you are winning everything, you keep your gig. You could be a great coach and you could lose. And we'll give you a little bit at first, right? Obama had that. He came into a horrible situation, had to rebuild. We gave it to him, as we should have. But eventually, we need to hold people accountable. And the coach is the one that's always held accountable. President will be. As goes the economy. In many cases, so goes Trump. Not always. Every once in a great while, you will find an anomaly. Case in point, look what took place in World War II. Winston Churchill's approval ratings were through the roof in the high 80s, low 90s. Yet when they chose a prime minister afterwards, they're like, he doesn't lead us in this situation. Is it possible? Yeah. But if we're growing at 3% and 4% and the economy's booming and we've got record low unemployment, record highs in the stock market, and things are still motoring along, it's tough to derail that train, right? Just because, I don't like the fact that he's a jerk and all of these mean tweets and he's a racist and all of the people are still going to go in there, going to go, I'm going to go with this. And especially it depends on who you're putting. I talked to 2 Democrats today, who hate Trump. And they said to me, if it's not Biden or somebody who seems sane, I can't vote for Warren and I can't vote for Bernie. I can't. Can't do it. So, very interesting. You got Bank of America coming out and say there's 30% chance we could go into recession. I'm here to say, based on what I'm looking at, based on my friends in the financial world globally, and what's happening in Europe and elsewhere, the potential of a slowdown through the fourth quarter into the early part of the year and maybe through a good portion of next summer is very real. And if that's true, even if he was the greatest, sweetest guy in the world, he'll probably pay the price for it at the ballot box. Absolutely. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me. Do love hearing from you. Got the Instagram as well. Very interesting thing. I want to talk about, I got a poll question up about technology and what they're saying about quitting technology. We'll touch on that. We got a little what's trending as well. It's the Chad Benson Show.
I can't take it anymore!
Well, get over it. It's time to forge a new path with your very own political cartographer, Chad.
That's me, baby. That's me. Hope you're doing well this beautiful morning. Text the program. 323-538-2423. That is the text line. We do have a phone number that you could call. We're pretty sure it works, but we don't really, that's not been our thing, is phone calls. But you could try it and wake Phil up or Producer Anthony. It's 844-344-2423. And I have only had to look that up like 3 times in the last couple of weeks. Somebody's still going to call the text line, though, and it's okay. We get it. Got a poll question up today, and I want you guys to check this out because they're saying now, according to several new studies, that quitting cell phones and social media is actually harder than quitting cigarettes. Could you quit your technology? Is there a price out there for you, technology-wise? Like if you're like, all right, I can quit my technology. I mean, you're going to need a cell phone, so you have to go back to the old style phone, right, where you could text, but it was all like the ABC was like number 1. And, as far as like social media, it's hard, right? Like it is. In my business, there's no way I could do it. There's no way I could. The average person, they say, touches their phone or looks at social media, something like this, like 2,600 times a day. Somebody like me is probably closer to 5,000. This is what I do all day. Could you do it? Currently, 46% of you are liars and say, yes, I could. 7% said, no, I can't. They tell the truth. 46% said maybe some, not all. Text the program. Let me know. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Speaking of social media.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending? What is trending? Well, on the Twitter, you got Mia Khalifa, Giuliani and Clowney and Mahomes are trending. The first two, Mia Khalifa is a Lebanese sports personality, and she's, how should I say this? She's pretty. Apparently, she has done some stuff in the adult world as well. And people are making fun of her because apparently she's not making money. So she found out how to be in the adult film industry and to not make money. So that itself is interesting. Google Trends. What's trending globally and what's trending around the world and here in the United States? Right now, number one thing is Simone Biles. 200,000 searches. She's the great gymnast. Hong Kong is trending. Whitney Cummings. Why? Because they got a hold of her nudity shots, and next thing you know, she's just like, screw it, I'm going to put it out there. Dak Prescott, also, because apparently he turned down $30 million a year to play quarterback. He wants $40 million a year. And blue algae is trending as well, because some dogs have dove into ponds where there's algae, and apparently they have died. So don't do that for your dog. My dog, I can't keep my dog out of the jacuzzi. He's nuts. He lives to be in the jacuzzi. Also on Yahoo, in the world of trending, it's so funny because I'm like so not like Nina Dobrev. Who is that? Should I know her? Like, who's that? She is apparently an actress. I have no idea. God, I'm so far behind. I'm so far behind stuff. But she's trending number one on Yahoo. Those are the things out there, kids, that are trending in the world that people are paying attention to. Speaking of paying attention, Hong Kong, it's getting ugly there. They're moving tanks in. They're protesting. This is disturbing, what one protester said.
The peaceful protest from the past 10 years is not working anymore.
Yeah, it's not working. And here it is. So in 1999, the changeover happened, or like 97, I can't remember, where it went from a British colony and reverted back to the Chinese. Chinese whole thought was, we're going to leave them alone. They've lived their life like this. We're going to leave them alone. Obviously, we're going to take them into the fold. They're going to be a part of who we are. But slowly but surely, over the last 20 years, they have incrementally continued to add more and more things, and to the point where if you're going to run for any kind of office over there, it's got to be approved by the mainland, and it's getting ugly, very ugly. And they want their leader right now to resign, and you've seen some protesters shot, you've seen a lot of stuff. They closed the airport today. It is a major financial hub, and it is close to boiling over. And unlike Tiananmen Square, because of social media and the freedoms that they have there, it would get really ugly. And I hope it doesn't get to that point. And think about this, with what China wants to do, and they want to do a lot as far as taking over the world. Think about this for a second. When is Taiwan next? That's the big thing a lot of people are waiting for. That's the battle. But if this happens and it gets ugly, what does the world do? What do they do? Globally, what do they do? Do we look and say, well, look what you guys have done. That's it. We're freezing everything. We're going to have nothing to do with you. Or do we turn a blind eye? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. The Mooch. Done with Trump? What? It's the Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
They're continuing to investigate the conspiracy, meaning if you actually read the indictment of Epstein, even there it mentions 3 other employees who were assisting in some way, shape, or form. So it is clear they're going to continue investigating the conspiracy aspect. Who else might have been helping Epstein all this time, and there could still be additional charges, and we may see a lot of the facts that people are saying will never be heard or never be seen now come out in public.
Maybe, but he's dead, and who did it? Does anybody know what Occam's razor is? You guys understand that? Right? Basically, say there's a couple explanations for something. The right answer is usually the easiest answer. But it's got to be Trump. It's got to be Clinton. It's the Russians. Somebody just tweeted at me. It's MI6, right? Because Prince Andrew's in there. Oh, it's MI6. It's got to be. It's another cellmate. It's this. It's maybe, just maybe, it's a poorly run place, and he took the opportunity to off himself. I'm just saying. It's a possibility, right? Little Occam's razor right there. Easiest thing to explain is the right answer. He's dead. So now what? Well, I mean, you got a pissed off William Barr who needs to look into this, right? Because this stuff's unsealed. He names some serious people. Some of them are unnamed, but, you know, you can start drawing lines to get to certain places potentially. There are other people involved in this that are going to definitely have some splaining to do along the way. But this right here was like, oh, and Barr is pissed off, as he should be.
I was appalled, and indeed the whole department was, and frankly, angry to learn of the MCC's failure to adequately secure this prisoner. We are now learning of serious irregularities at this facility that are deeply concerning and demand a thorough investigation.
And they'll get that. But in the end, I have a feeling what they're going to come up with, because the cameras aren't pointed into the cells. Apparently they didn't check. He wasn't on suicide watch anymore. They didn't check on him for 7 hours, even though it was supposed to be every 30 minutes. I mean, in the end, the dude had an opportunity. He took the opportunity. He didn't want to go to jail forever. Right? He didn't want any of that stuff. And so, and for a lot of reasons. I mean, for a lot of reasons. In jail, he would have been a marked man, which is also a potential if you want to break out, you know, MI6, the Clintons, the Trumps, the Russians, the Saudis. If you want to break it all out, I mean, he's a marked man in prison. Rapists and child molesters do not fare well in prison. So you could have all kinds of. The reality is he's dead. They're going to sue his estate. Hopefully, more will come out, and people that now potentially feel like they can cut some sort of deal that were involved in this will also come out and talk about things. And that's it. That's it. Right? But there's not some. I know everybody's always looking for some sort of conspiracy theory. And would it be plausible for something to happen? Absolutely. But sometimes you just have to look and go, I mean, this guy wanted to die. He's a billionaire that's used to having everything in the world. Somebody just texted in, he was a threat to run. Well, he wasn't going to go anywhere. He was never getting out of prison. It's the reason they denied his bail, because he could have gone anywhere. My God, he's got an island. He's got all kinds of stuff. He had diamonds. Well, what are diamonds? They're a girl's best friend. They are, but you know what else they are? They're untraceable. So, yeah. Dude's dead. Good riddance to bad rubbish. We move on. Let the conspiracy theorists come out. It'll be fun to watch because there's battling conspiracy theories going on. And we sit there and laugh. We move on with it. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Do love hearing from all of you. Several of you are texting in saying, gee, I would like to know what you think. Because I always think it's fun. I've got a lot of Clintons. A lot of people, it's the Clintons. It's the Clintons. It's the Clintons. And I'm like, okay, well, there you go. Maybe it was. How do you prove it? I mean, how do you prove it? If somebody could get to people that easy, how do you prove it? Right? At the highest level, how are you going to prove it? Sometimes somebody, Lee Harvey Oswald, just has that moment, takes that shot, changes history. Right? Sometimes that's what it is. We're always looking for something. Well, sometimes that something essentially is just, it is what it is. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Now, for all of you out there who are working hard, you and I both know it sucks sometimes. That work-life balance baloney that's out there, it's not out there like the way people think. And mostly that's us, right? Mostly we're not the work-life balance people. I'm not work-life balance. When I'm with my family, I am 100% devoted, but I'm also know that there is, to me, it's just go, go, go. They now have the best cities and worst cities as far as work-life balance, the most overworked cities and the underworked cities. Number 5, overworked, Chicago. 4 is Seattle. 3 is Atlanta. 2 is Houston. Number 1, Washington, D.C., and I think we can all laugh at that because we're not quite sure what they're doing. And the way they look at this and the way they break this down, so these are the worst, right, is everything from work intensity, arrival time, hours worked, minimum vacation offers, vacation taken, unemployment, things of that nature, society, spending, social spending, healthcare score, things of that nature, gender equality score, which is vitally important, by the way. So important. And then the safety score, happiness score, and whatnot. The number, and this is interesting, when you talk, and again, these are top cities, right? We're not talking about like small cities. We're talking about very, very large cities, metropolitan areas. New York City, Minneapolis, San Francisco, Portland, and the number 1 work-life balance is San Diego. First of all, for the short commute days, the amount of days that people take vacation-wise, things of that nature. I love this is the way I look at some place like San Diego, which I love. I love San Diego. Son lives in San Diego. I love it. Anywhere in California, I just don't know how you have that balance. Because you have to work so much to pay for things. It's insane. It is. Like, I get it. And it's funny because I've had friends who worked in radio, and one of the things they always talk about is that people working there in radio, and I did for a little while, is they don't pay as much as some other big cities. I have friends who work in much smaller markets and make more money than people who work in places like San Diego, and the rent is so ridiculous. And same thing with San Francisco. San Francisco is insane. How insane? This is how insane it is to live there.
San Francisco's notorious housing market is pricing a lot of people out of the city, some spending $5,000 for a 2-bedroom apartment. Enter Rob Novotny, an innovator who thinks he has one solution: glamorous campers or glamper vans. It's alternative housing using upscale livable vans.
Got a fireplace and an oven and, a fridge and shower, a skylight to the roof deck, and we've got a lot of fun features in there.
Another issue in San Francisco is parking permits. They're tough to get, but the risk might be worth the reward. Glamper vans range from $50,000 to $90,000.
I mean, think about that for a second. So your choice is $3,000 to $5,000 for an apartment, right? And that's just moving in. If you find a place, then you've got your commute, you've got all your bills. I mean, you're pulling in $120, right? After taxes, you're walking, if you're lucky, with $80,000, $85,000, right? So let's say $7,000 a month. Half of it goes to rent. Then all the other things, you're scraping by, and so your option is, hey, I got a great idea. I'm going to buy a van and live on it down by the river because I have no choice. But it's a $100,000 van. It's crazy. How do you have balance in that? I often wonder. Like I took everybody to the movies this weekend, and it cost a ton of money. And I'm looking around, I'm thinking, how do regular people afford a lot of this stuff? It's nuts how expensive life can be just for doing the most, what you would think is just like thing you do. Wasn't anything spectacular. Went to the movies, got food and the whole 9 yards. And you look up and you're like, my God, that was like $120. It's like, sweet mamma jamma. And you live in some of these places and you're just like, I don't get it. I just don't get what about it is so amazing that you're willing to spend every dime you have just so you can have 75-degree weather most of the year? Yeah, but it's opportunities. What opportunities do you have? Most people are working how much? It's nuts. I don't know how people do it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. So what's your conspiracy theory? I want to hear it. Was it who killed Epstein? Right? Was it Mr. Cotter? You got that right, Phil?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, good. For those of you who don't know, Mr. Cotter. You guys remember Mr. Cotter? Right? He had Epstein. He's always giving everybody the fake news, like his grandma died or whatever. Was it MI6? Was it aliens? Illegal or otherwise? Was it another person in the prison? Or was it just the fact that it was a crappy run area that was dilapidated and overworked guards, and he just took the opportunity to kill himself? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Wounded Paw, amazing organization. I've been working with them for a while, and I absolutely love them. Things they do are amazing. What they do is they rescue dogs that would be euthanized, and they train them to be service dogs, and they get them to our veterans, first responders, and their families. It's incredible what they do. 20 veterans a day on average are committing suicide. And what this does for not only the animal, but the family or veteran or the first responder who receives them is incredible. It's not easy and it's not cheap. And you need to check out their website because you're going to want to give. I do. It's incredible. Go to woundedpawproject.org and see what they do. They say you can't take these dogs and rescue them and turn them into service dogs. They're proving people otherwise. And it really is incredible what they do. Car, truck, RV, whatever you got, it's just sitting there. You're not going to do anything with it. Donate it. Get a great tax-deductible gift. They also take cash donations. It really is transforming life. WoundedPawProject.org, WoundedPawProject.org, or call 844-678-4PAW, 844-678-4729, WoundedPawProject.org. You'll be saving a paw to save a life. Chad Benson Show.
No need to fear. We promise we won't give you a noogie and make you cry Russia, Russia, Russia.
Who is the fearless leader?
Fui.
Fui, fui, and double fui.
What is your language? This is a family show, remember?
Fui to families too.
Nostrovia. This is Chad Benson.
Actually, he was watching something earlier on CNN. Apparently, Pooter, we'll call him the Pooter, Putin, has a secret army that does all of his dirty dealings, dirty deeds, done dirt cheap, dirty deeds. And you get what I'm going with this. Not a shocker, by the way. Not a shocker that he's got people that are around him that will do horrible things. Yeah, I think that's pretty much a given, right? Like, isn't that something that you thought happened? I always thought that. Right? Like, we joke about the Clintons. We joke about Trump and body count. That guy's got a real body count. And in his younger days, long before he became the man of power that he is now, he buried a lot of those bodies himself. So, yeah, that I could see. That I absolutely could.
Kyle Giersdorf is a 16-year-old Fortnite champ known online as Booga. He lives in Pennsylvania and last month won a $3 million grand prize in the Fortnite World Cup. Over the weekend, he was playing, heard on this recording when he was swatted when police are falsely called to someone's house.
I got swatted.
Upper Pottsgrove Township police were called by somebody claiming to be Giersdorf, saying he had just killed his dad. Booga disappeared from the game.
Did he just leave mid-game?
Police surrounded the home until they were able to figure it out. They believe the hoax call came in from Europe.
You think? Kid won a bunch of money. He's super famous, and this seems to be the cool thing to do is to swat, and it has gone ugly elsewhere? Yeah. The price of fame, people. The price of fame. Speaking of price, there's a back-to-school special. It's going on right now.
The marquee outside the Boyert Shooting Center in Katy, Texas says back-to-school sale, up to 50% off firearms. Michelle Simmons drove past it.
And it just was so
jarring.
She wanted to know,
What does going back to school have anything to do with getting guns?
especially in a climate of fear caused by mass shootings, many of them at schools. The gun store said in a statement the sale is a way of reaching out and saying thank you to teachers, adding a lot of Texans aren't aware concealed weapons are now allowed on some college campuses and in certain school districts.
Whoa, a climate of fear. But when we go look at the data, does it match up everything? Doesn't really matter whether or not it's real, right? You tell a story, and the story's what matters. You get presidential candidates out there saying,
I have had teachers telling me about what kind of surrender is it in our society where we tell our children basically we can't protect you, so we're going to teach you in school how to duck and cover and shelter in place. More and more Americans are seeing that this is a matter of freedom in this country.
So I'm not quite sure what that's supposed to mean, Corey. So freedom what? You're going to take away, Bernie said it, 99.999% of gun owners would never do something like this. Right? What took place? So what are you saying? So to protect everybody, you want to do what? I mean, I'm trying to figure out. We're still not dealing with the issue. And what happens if we decide to go with some magical buyback, aka confiscation of weapons, and people continue to do things that are awful and horrible? You'll want to put a Band-Aid on it without dealing with the reality of we got angry, pissed off people in this world. Why are they that way? Why are young men, in particular white young men, in their late teens to mid-20s, angry and pissed off at this world? What is going on there? Why are we not dealing with that in a real way? Because we're going to virtue signal, we're going to pat each other on the back and say, look at what we did. And then guess what? Things will happen that are still bad. And then what? You'll want more. When the data shows we're in the safest time in human history, but our bubble got burst. Our safety bubble got just breached a little bit. And we're like, it's frustrating. It is. And it's sad what took place. But let's figure out why. Other places have almost as many guns as we do, and they don't have this anger, pissed off at the world problem. 323-538-2423. On a better note, Chick-fil-A is adding a new side, macaroni and cheese. Oh, I love macaroni and cheese. I believe I'm going to have that tonight. I'm just throwing it out there as a possibility. I've been macaroni and cheesing it tonight. It takes a long time. I think it's been 2 or 3 years since they've added to their menu. Think about that. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
New changes to legal immigration announced by the Trump administration.
Our rule generally prevents aliens who are likely to become a public charge from coming to the United States or remaining here and getting a green card.
U.S. Citizen and Immigration Services Ken Cuccinelli told reporters no one factor alone will decide an applicant's case. But immigrant rights groups have already announced their intent to sue and say the rule is about striking fear into their community. Immigrant advocacy group America's Voice said this is a, quote, racial wealth test on immigrant families that sends the message that if you're not white and rich, you're not welcome.
Yeah, they actually said that. All right, here's the thing. I'm great with legal immigration. Like, we need to make it easier for people to come here, have an opportunity to work. But not on us. Not on us. You immigrate all over the world. It's not as easy as we make it out, right? Like, you show up and you, no. When I moved to Europe, man, I had to prove all kinds of stuff. That I wasn't going to be a burden on their society, that I wasn't going to be taking from them, that I was going to be a productive member, that I had a job, a career, money, a place to live, all of these things that I was bringing over there. In fact, they wanted to know how much cash I had, how much money was in the bank, all of these things they wanted to know. All of these things. It's nuts. It is. I think if you're coming to this country, right, you should come to this country with the opportunity to provide and to do stuff, not to get here and to immediately start taking. You should be able to stand out there and do your thing with the opportunity that's in front of it. But Chad, you just don't understand something. No, I do. I understand tremendously. It's ridiculous to think, hey, you come on over here and you get all this stuff, right? Remember Joe Wilson, you lie, when they were talking about like Obamacare, that nobody here legally is going to get any of that. All of a sudden, now that's where everybody's headed. Well, Chad, it's what? It's frustrating. Well, it's not fair. Give us your poor, again, the poor came here. And they worked. They busted their ass. We have too many people here coming here who are looking for the opportunity to not only work, but they know exactly what they're going to get. They know how to go about getting these things, and it's frustrating. I think if you're coming here, if you're immigrating here in particular, yes, you should be bringing something with you where you will stand on your own 2 feet.
This rule essentially says that for anyone who isn't white and isn't wealthy, that you must forego food. You must forego shelter and basic medical care.
Where exactly did it say that? Well, it's because it's implied. How is it implied? How? Look, if you're here and you're working and you're a resident, right? You get your work visa, you're here, and something goes wrong. That's one thing. But if you just essentially come here, cross the border illegally, or apply for asylum knowing fully you're not going to get it, and then get all of these services, it's frustrating. It pisses people off on both sides of the aisle. It does. It is absolutely frustrating. Well, you only want wealthy people. I'm not saying that. Again, not saying that. What I am saying is, if you're coming here, and I've seen this more and more, especially as this battle has gone on at the border, being here in Phoenix, I've seen it over and over again, and I've talked to many reporters who are out there, that for several years, people kind of had a plan. They had a family here. They were going to work. There was something. More and more what we're seeing is people are desperate to get here, and they have no plan. Their only plan is arrive. That's their only plan. So no, I don't think it's racist, but anytime that if nowadays we're at the point where if you say, I want a strong border with a solid immigration plan that allows more flexibility and people to come here in an easier way, the fact that you said you want a strong border automatically makes you racist. Denmark, that has the ideal Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren dream of cradle to the grave government ownership and stuff, has cracked down on people coming. Why? Because they're coming. They don't want anything to do with the country itself, and they want the stuff. They're over it. They are. No. We should want people that want to come here and to be on their own 2 feet. That's what we should want. Am I wrong? Is that wrong to say, wait, to ask you to come here and to be a part of this? That we want you to participate? We want you to be a part of this? And to do so, you're going to have to stand on your own 2 feet? Am I missing something? Probably. Somebody's going to say, you're a jerk, Chad. Probably. Just because I'm a jerk doesn't make me wrong. Doesn't make me right. Doesn't make me wrong. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. In case you guys didn't hear,
Jeffrey Epstein was found unresponsive in his cell at about 6:30 Saturday morning. His suicide by hanging touched off 2 federal investigations. The FBI is doing one, and the Department of Justice Inspector General is doing another at the request of Attorney General William Barr, who was said to be livid over Epstein's suicide. There were calls on Capitol Hill for congressional hearings over this and an outcry among victims who are worried now they will never get their day in court.
yeah, I think they will get their day in court, and he's got every right to be pissed off. And I think in the end, though, the conspiracy theories that are flying out there, and there's a ton of them, right? The Russians, the Saudis, Trump, Clinton, MI6, right? Because we don't want the somewhere in there that, you know, there was Prince Andrew named, and this girl apparently was passed around to all these famous people and these powerful people, and they don't want this black guy on the British throne and the potential there. So somewhere in there, somebody, let me tell you who got to him. He did. He did. He got to himself. I'm going to go out there and say that. I'm going to say that the reality is they weren't paying attention. They're overworked, undermanned. The facility is old, didn't have the necessary things to be up to date. They had taken him off suicide watch. And he knew his get-out-of-jail-free cards have all been used, and that this was it. Once that thing came out, of course, people are trying to kill me. Well, you pissed off some powerful people. You did. In saying that, you're in jail. Nobody was going to get to you, right? I don't think anybody was going to get to you. Now, the most plausible thing, if there was a conspiracy, is being a child molester and or a rapist in prison is not a good place to be, right? You have very little chance of survival. Very little. Like, it's like a fat kid with a donut. At some point in time, the donut's going to disappear. At some point in time, you're done. If they get their chance. Could somebody have snuck in and done something? Potential's there. But there's no video. And because there's no video, what are we going to find out about this?
When he was found in his cell at 6:30 Saturday morning, he had not been on suicide watch. There appears to have been no camera trained on his cell, so no video catching him in the act.
Yeah. So he's off suicide watch. He had a chance to kill himself. He looked around. His life, as he knew it. Just think about this. A year ago, 5 months ago, 3 months ago, dude's riding high. He's got everything he wants, right? He's got money. He's got power. He's got an island. He's got all of these things he's ever dreamed of. Now he's in a tiny little cell, and it was too much for him, and he offed himself. Everybody's going to come up with their conspiracies. I see it. It's the Clintons. It's Trump. It's this. It's that. Dude took a chance to finish himself. They're still going to go. They're going to investigate the hell out of it. And at some point in time, we'll find out somewhat of the truth, not the entire truth. Because, yes, there are people that are powerful enough to bury certain things in certain ways. And I think that may happen. But as far as him being buried by somebody, nah. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Dow down again. Not a good day, 390 points, lots of stuff going on globally on top of what's happening here with the trade war.
Markets are going to go up, markets are going to go down based on whether the outlook is glass half full or glass half empty. But I think for individual investors, don't get distracted by the short-term ups and downs. Focus on the long term.
Yeah, focus on the long term. There you go. Focus on the long term. That is it. Market is going to go up, down. Economy is going to go up 2-3 steps sometimes, take a step backwards, sometimes 2 steps, it'll go up again. We could be heading there, according to Bank of America. There's about a 30% chance that early next year we could be heading into a recession. I think this fourth quarter is going to be really important. And as that goes, I think a lot of what happens with Trump's presidency is going to go that way too. But the market's going to have fluctuations. And think about this. This isn't all just China trade war. You've got a big issue in Hong Kong, millions of protesters, closing the airports, a financial hub for Asia. The potential for it to get ugly is huge. Markets like stability. They don't care who's president. They don't care about what they like is stability. To be able to look out and to go, okay, I'm comfortable with where we're going. I recognize this. I'm familiar with this. That's what they like. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. So much fun stuff still to talk about, kids, including a guy taping his roommate's girlfriend going off on him. Wait till you hear this. Chad Benson Show.
Take a fake news break. Check out the really important news of the day at our website, ChadBensonShow.com. Once there, click on Chad's free podcast and get real. The Chad Benson Show, where truth and the American way live. Print free.
If something crazy happens, make sure you film it, take a picture of it. Otherwise, it doesn't exist. But a roommate decided he was sick and tired of the way that his roommate's girlfriend treated him. And quite frankly, after watching this, I too am sick and tired of the way that she treats him.
You don't even take care of me, not only financially, but like emotionally.
First of all, why do I have to take care of you financially? They're young, right? They're in their early 20s. Why? I'm just curious why I have to take care of you financially.
Like a husband takes care of a wife.
This happens all the time. She's crazy.
No, get your ass over here. No, excuse me.
She's hitting him right now, kicking him.
What do you say to that? Like, I would just like, dude, what are you doing? Right? Like, maybe you're a 4 and she's a 6. Maybe you're a 5 and she's a 7. Based on what I've heard, she's a -1 million. Run away. It's not over.
After everything, that's it. That's it. What the hell is wrong with you?
Betsy.
What the is wrong with you? That's it. Oh my baby.
Nothing's wrong with me. You have no thought. Hey,
why are you hitting him?
Why are you laughing?
Because you're ridiculous right now. I have a broken leg.
I don't care.
I can't even walk anywhere.
Good, and you deserve that.
So why would you let anybody? She smashes his phone, right? She's mad because she couldn't get a hold of him or something last night. He's walking around. She takes away. He's got like this stick, like a broom that he's using to kind of just get around the house. But he's like taking the broom part off, and she takes that away from him. She punches him. She hits him. Are you insane? What are you doing? Like, that's abuse, right? Can we all agree? And then, of course, who gets flack? The guy who posted. He gets flack for, how dare you do something like that? No. Show it to your friends. Show it to the world. I don't get it. I've never got it, right? I don't care how hot you are. I don't care anything. I mean, there is just nothing. I don't get it. I couldn't. I'd be like, I got to go, and don't ever hit me again, right? Just don't ever hit me again is what I'm saying. Because at some point in time, you're going to hit me. I'm going to grab you. We're going to call the police and show them everything that you've been doing, and they're going to take you away. She was cool. Good God. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at me. Some of you are tweeting in about the immigration thing. And Chad, you're heartless. I'm not heartless, right? If you didn't hear, Trump's using immigration as a racist weapon and only rich white people. But they're looking at like, hey, if you're coming here to immigrate, you should come here in a way where you can support yourself. And maybe if you're not going to do that, Whether you're here legally or illegally, maybe the taxpayers shouldn't have to foot the bill. They shouldn't. And somehow that's evil and racist. It's not. At what point in time do you say, okay, wait a minute here. I call enough on this. I have enough of this. It's okay for a hand up, not a handout. But at some point in time, if your only thing is to come over here and get a handout, and the incentive is to come here and you're going to get goodies, that is not a smart thing to do. That is not. We need to do better. We need to be more open in bringing people here. I'm all for that. But if you're going to come here, it's about contributing and being an American. It's not about what we can do for you. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. It's Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Whoop-ah! Everything subscription service. You got a youngster, Nike's rolling something out for you. You might like it. Sounds interesting, right? Now, what they're doing is a subscription service. It was announced today. It's Nike Adventure Club. So this is a subscription service for kids ages 2 through 10. And parents have 3 options. This is very interesting, actually. So for $20 a month, you get 6 pairs. For $30 a month, or you get 4 pairs for $20 a month. So for $20 a month, you get 4 pairs of shoes a year, right? So for 6 pairs, it's $30 a month. So whenever you decide, hey, little Jimmy or Jenny has outgrown that, or whatever, nondescript you want to call your child. And for 12 pairs, that's 1 a month, it's $50 a month. So $600 a year for 12 pairs of shoes. And there's going to be 100 sneakers to choose from. And what they're saying is they're targeting time-strapped parents in the suburbs and rural area who don't live near a shoe store. So this is perfect for them. $600 a year for sneakers. Damn. Shows you, first of all, I live in flip-flops, so. So secondly, but I'm thinking about, what I spend on Jack. Because he goes through them. He's at that age where he's just, he's rolling through his sneakers at 1,000 miles an hour. And would I spend $600? No, I don't think I would. But 12, how much are the sneakers on average? Like if I was to buy them 1 a month, are they $40 for that age? And so in theory, I'm getting ripped off. Or, on average, are they $85? So you're like, okay, I'm getting a deal. But subscription service is where everything's going, right? Because the whole thing is to get you into a position where you're not going to use the service that much. And you're not going to take advantage of things so that the people that do take advantage of it, right, you offset them and then some. That's not a bad deal. It's very interesting. Good for you, Nike. Good for you. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Feel free to do so. I'm just still laughing over the conspiracy theories of who killed Epstein. I got a lot of them out there. What's your thought? Text me or tweet at me at Chad Benson Show. I do enjoy them. MI6 was really good. The whole thing, the thought of protecting the British royal family. The Saudis, we see how they could play, right? Because supposedly, and let's be real, the Saudis enjoy themselves some young ladies. So is that a possibility? We saw what they did with Khashoggi. So, yeah, it is it. But the reality for me, my money, Chad Benson's money, is on he wanted out. He knew he was never getting out. and this is the only way he was going to get out. So he's out, and overtime, exhausted workers, poorly run place, whatever you want to call it, I think he did it to himself. Are you woke? You need to be.
Thing that's invaded the left primarily, and then the right will mimic it in it, kind of like, oh, this isn't okay, then we're going to say we're offended by this. But
yeah,
I see it on the left, like this cancel culture that I call it righteousness porn.
Yeah, it is. It is. Righteousness. I like that. That's funny. That's Sarah Silverman. She's on with Bill Simons, who was on ESPN, is a great writer, controversial at times. But she was on this weekend, or this past week, talking about a lot of this wackiness that's out there in this world of culture that is, you've seen it, with Walmart, let's see here, Fox, Tucker Carlson. I mean, cancel. And she's kind of like, oh, wait a minute. This is a bunch of crap, right? It is, and I like what she says here.
Where it's like, if you're not on board, if you say the wrong thing, if you had a tweet once, if you whatever, everyone is like throwing the first stone, whatever, it's so odd. And it's really, it's a perversion. I see it as a perversion, really. You know what I mean? It's really, it's, look how righteous I am, and now I'm going to press refresh all day long to see how many likes I get in my righteousness.
Oh, so true. So true. That is absolutely so true. And it got me thinking, because there's a great article about woke washing, right? And that's where companies, and we've talked about this on numerous occasions, where companies are going out there, and what they're doing is their fear. What's their big fear? It isn't a down marketplace. It's not, right? It's not even a recession. They know that a lot of these big companies can handle certain things like that. But what their big fear is not being on the right side of being woke in a day and age where, in particular, the liberals do it 1,000 times better than the conservatives do, which is go after companies. I mean, my God, you've got the guy that owns Equinox and SoulCycle, and people are trying to, distance themselves from him, and he owns the Miami Dolphins, and he's throwing a fundraiser for Trump, so automatically he's evil. And so what's real and what's not real? Because companies and people get behind stuff, but they're asking the question is like, how real are you? Do you really believe that? And I've always said no. I talk to a lot of people, and their whole thought process is, I would rather be, whether it's professors, right, or people I know in the entertainment industry that I'm close with, they would rather be in a situation where they'll either keep their mouth shut or appear to be on the side of something because of it all runs downhill in that world, and they don't want to be hit by an avalanche of crap. It's just easier that way. And how much of this is real? Right? How much of this is real? And there's a lot of patronizing that goes on. And they're called woke washing. You get all of these companies, because you also have a lot of people out there who are, how should we say this? They're using, Stella Artois is one of the ones I point out, like, look at us do great things with water. We want clean water. Buy our beer because we're good people. Right? And you see it even with the fossil fuel companies. All the things we're trying to do for the energy of the world and stuff, da-da-da-da. Hey, but buy our gasoline, buy our oil. How much of it's real? How much do they believe? But we're asking them, and by we, I don't mean you and I, but a younger generation who they're aiming their product at is asking them to be most socially aware. And at the same time, how much do you really trust that? Or is it lip service? I think a lot of it's lip service. It is patronizing. That's what you're doing. Right? They were talking about Pride celebrations. The brands were at an all-time high this year in all these Pride celebrations that included Equinox and SoulCycle, but now they're being, what? They're being boycotted. People want to be on the right side of something, even if it's something they don't believe in. Even if it's not right in their mind, because there's a fear, right? You have people who are professors I know and I talk to, and I'm like, dude, you need to come on and talk about this stuff, right? You need to come on and talk about this craziness over, all the things that are going on campuses, and they're afraid because even though they don't believe 99% of the crap that's being spewed, if they're not seen to be on the right side of it or aligned and allied with the right group, the damage could be done is huge. And I like what she said there. It's true. How many people run out there and they're just all, oh my God, I totally believe it. It's like you go watch a show and all you got to do is say Trump is awful and horrible and everybody starts clapping. But how many people are sitting there going, I really don't buy into that? And they may have even voted, but they're clapping because they feel like, hey, peer pressure. I've got to. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. That is your Twitter friends. Love hearing from every single one of you. What do you think? Who killed Jeffrey Epstein? Can we call him Jeff? He's dead. What's he going to do? Sue us? I think he killed himself. Some of you out there do not believe he killed himself. Some of you think he's been offed. He's been snuffed. Who's your money on in this situation? Who is it on? Me, my money is on himself. That's just me. My money is on Jeff. Jeff killed himself, didn't want to be there, got zero problems with it. I hope they sue his estate for everything. They get as much as they possibly can, and whatever's going to be exposed, be exposed. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. So kids are going back to school. Jack doesn't have school for a couple of weeks because when I was a kid, I don't know about you, producer Phil, when I was a kid and I was growing up, it was really weird. It was like I went to school like right after Labor Day and I got out mid-June. Now kids go back like the first week or second week and some in May. And it's an odd thing, I mean, they get out in May and they're back in school in August. When did you go to school? Like, when was yours?
Well, when I was in grade school, it was right after Labor Day, and when I got into high school, it was mid-August to the end of August, and that's a big fight around here as to when school should actually start. Yeah.
Now, out here where I am in Phoenix right now, I understand because of the high bills and the cost of running the air conditioning and stuff is one of the reasons they say they get them out a little bit earlier and come back, at a different time. I would say, look, if that's what you really want to do, get through May into June, because August and September are extremely hot. But for all of that stuff that's going on, you've got to think about yourself. What kind of backpack you're going to get your kid?
It's something that is probably necessary in the event, that there is an active shooter incident.
What? What kind of backpack? Well, if it's necessary, is it the bulletproof one? It is.
We've definitely seen a spike over the past week or so in the sales, and that could be attributed to back to school, but it also could be attributed to some of the national events that are happening as well.
Of course it is. Right? Of course it is. Here's my thing with the backpack. Do you have to have it with you 24/7? While you're in school, So from the moment you get there, so if something was horrific to happen, if your backpack is across the room and is not at your chair, then what's it doing? Are you going to have it on you 24/7? Is that what it is? It's this fear culture that we live in. And now we've got this backpack that's going to protect you. At a big price, too, by the way. Those things aren't cheap. Those are not a cheap backpack. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us. MyPillow, love it. Amazing. What are you doing? Get your MyPillow. It's incredible. Now, what they're doing right now is incredible. They got discounts across the board like they've never offered before. All MyPillow products are getting discounted huge. Up to 50% off on MyPillows, mattress toppers, bed sheets, much more. Call 800-983-4975. Use my promo code Benson. You're going to get huge savings. They've got a body pillow, right? So it's a MyPillow body pillow. Normally it's $90, $29.99 with the promo code Benson. Think about that. 50% off all their products right now. Now is the chance to jump on this. And think about that. $30 for a pillow that normally costs $90. And these body pillows are amazing. Just enter MyPillow.com, the promo code Benson. You're going to get amazing deals with this. You get a 10-year warranty, a 60-day money-back guarantee on all the products. It is awesome what they're doing. and they're saying thank you. So up to 50% off on all MyPillow's mattress toppers, bed sheets, and so much more. Go to MyPillow.com, MyPillow.com. Use the promo code Benson. That's MyPillow.com, promo code Benson, BENSON. You can save up to 50% off on all of their stuff. It is amazing. Chad Benson Show.
If you're part of the politically exhausted majority, don't fear. Your time to be validated and rejuvenated is here. Wake up. It's the Chad Benson Show.
We're going for a ride!
Business dropped by half from last week's debut, but Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw still earned $25.4 million. That's enough to hold on to the #1 spot at the weekend box office.
I'm afraid that we woke something up.
A surprising $20.8 million second-place opening for Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Just a few days ago, it was expected to debut in 4th place at best.
Now we run this neighborhood.
A disappointing 7th-place opening for the Melissa McCarthy, Tiffany Haddish crime drama The Kitchen.
I saw Scary Stories. I also read the book as a kid. It was fun. It was awesome. Good times. I told you, horror movies have a built-in audience. That's why they continue to do so well. There's a ton of them coming out in the next few months, and they're going to do well because they have a built-in audience. That's just the way it goes. One movie that will not be coming out, and I'm bummed about it, and I'm sure it will come out eventually, whether on video on demand or a release in the theaters, that was pulled last week after the shootings, is a movie called The Hunt.
It's called The Hunt.
Hunting human beings for sport.
Universal Pictures canceling the September release of the controversial movie about elite shooters hunting deplorables.
They're not human beings.
President Trump recently slammed Hollywood on Twitter for making a film, in his words, to inflame and cause chaos. Universal says it is possible that the movie might be released in theaters or on streaming at a later date.
Well, of course, they're not going to shelve it altogether. And I don't know why. First of all, I wouldn't do it. Well, it's art, right? They said, hey, look, it's art. But here's the thing. If you look at it, it's kind of funny because it's Hollywood kind of saying we're the worst type of people. We have this elitist view of the world where they sit around and look at flyover country as a bunch of redneck idiots. And who do you side with in a situation like this? The bad person is Hillary Swank, right? She's the bad person who runs all of this. And the other person who is the female, lead, if you will, on the deplorable side is an ass kicker that you kind of sympathize with and you cheer on. Well, it's just wrong. Get over yourselves. My God. Just get over yourselves. And you ruin it because it looked good. Looked like it was going to be fun. And Blumhouse, he produces good stuff. Drive me crazy. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. I do like to talk to you and listen to you and hear from you. You can check out the Instagram as well. We gram it up here. People texting in about the mooch, about Epstein. Apparently, the person who was supposedly watching Epstein, or the guard, wasn't even a full-fledged guard. He was like a newbie that was training. So there's going to be all kinds of conspiracies. Just go with Occam's razor. There could be several different outcomes, but the reality is the best outcome, the outcome that is probably the real outcome, is the simple outcome. He had a chance. His life was over as he knew it. Didn't want to go through it. He decided the best thing for him to do was to take his life, and he did. Follow along across all social media. At Chad Benson Show, Twitter and Instagram. Text me always, 323-538-2423. Got through it. Felt good. Freedom. Gotta love that. Have yourself a wonderful night. We'll do it again tomorrow. As always, night-night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.